Welcome back, dear students, for Standard 6, General Science. Today we will be dealing with Module 2 for Chapter number 1, Natural Resources, Air, Water and Land. I am Ms. Jagjit Kaur. Students, before beginning with the Module 2, let us recall what we have studied in Module 1. The elements available in nature which fulfill the basic needs of living things are called as natural resources. Air, water and land are important natural resources. Air is a mixture of gases. Air becomes rarer at higher altitudes. Air pollution is increasing day by day due to the harmful gases given out through combustion of fuels. Ozone layer is a protective shell of the earth. Before beginning with today's session, let us first discuss with the learning objectives. Because at the end of this module, you all will be understanding that why water is called as a natural resource, how the water is formed, the different states of water, why the water is important for us, water cycle, and water scarcity. Now students, by seeing the pictures, you can clearly understand that we will be discussing about water. Now water is an essential life-sustaining resource whose existence and availability for human use are often taken for granted. It is often utilized by people who are unaware of where the water originated and what happens to the water. Beyond meeting direct human use, water enables all living organisms to survive and flourish and is a renewable natural resource. And also, students, at the same time, it is a finite resource. Even there is no life without water. It is essential for the socio-economic development of human being. Most part of the water on the globe is confined to the oceans and seas. Only small fraction lies on the continent in the form of polar and continent ice sheets, glaciers, rivers, lakes, reservoirs and underground water. But only 3% of the world's water is fresh water and roughly 1/3 of it is inaccessible. Now here students, inaccessible means it is unable to be reached. 71% of the earth's surface is covered by water. Therefore, the earth is called as a water planet. Students, now let us understand how the water is formed, how the water looks like. So let us begin. Water is a colorless and transparent chemical substance which is a main constituent of streams, oceans, lakes on the earth's crust. Even it is an important fluid that plays a significant role in sustaining life on earth. The chemical formula of water is H2O. Students, here H stands for hydrogen atom and O stands for oxygen atom. That means water is made up of 2 hydrogen atoms and 1 oxygen atom which are held together by a covalent bond. Now your covalent bond is the bond formed by the sharing of a pair of electrons by 2 atoms. And lastly, even water is referred as a universal solvent, as most substances such as acids, salts, sugar and gases readily dissolve in it. Students, now let us understand about the states of water. As we already studied that water is colorless and transparent chemical substance. Water can occur in three states, that is solid state, liquid state and gaseous state. Now let us understand these states. So first is the solid state. The solid water, that is ice, it is a frozen water. When water freezes, its molecules move farther apart, making ice less dense than water. This means that ice will be lighter than the same volume of water, and so ice will float in water. Water freezes at 0 degrees Celsius. That means we can call the 0 degrees Celsius as a freezing point of water. Now the next state is the liquid state. Liquid water is wet and fluid. This is the form of water with which we are most familiar. We use liquid water in many ways, including washing and drinking. Now the third state, that is a gaseous state. Water as a gas, that is vapor, is always present in the air around us. You cannot see it. When we boil water, the water changes from a liquid to a gas or a water vapor. As some of the water vapor cools, we see it as a small cloud called steam, as shown in the figure. This cloud of steam is a mini version of the clouds we see in the sky. At sea level, steam is formed at 100 degrees Celsius. Now students, as we all know that water is important to sustain life on earth. So now let us study some more importance of water. The first is agriculture. The most important use of water is for agriculture. Irrigation is necessary for agriculture, and for that, water is a key component to produce food. The next is drinking. The human body contains 50% to 78% of water according to the size of body. Humans need to drink 7 liters of water every day to avoid dehydration. Dehydration is the loss of water from the body. The third one is health. Water plays an important role in digestion and other biological processes that occur in the living organism. Water also plays an important role in maintaining the acidity and alkalinity of the body. It also helps in the movement of antibodies from the immune system. The next is water plays a role of regulator. That means water helps in controlling the body temperature. Water provides a necessary cooling effect to the body. The next is intoxication. That means water removes harmful toxins from the body through the process of sweating and urination. It prevents the buildup of waste in the living organisms. The next is washing. It is used to make emulsions and solutions which are used for washing clothes, washing hands. Emulsion is a fine dispersion of minute droplets of one liquid in another in which it is not soluble. Students, we all know that living organisms require water, and the process of how water moves through the planet is water cycle. So, the water cycle is important to all life on earth for many reasons. The water cycle is also known as the hydrologic cycle. It is a continuous movement of water from the earth's surface to the atmosphere and then back to the ground. It is a continuous process. So students, it does not have a starting or an ending point. Thus, the water present on the earth has been in circulation since the evolution of the earth. Water goes through all the three states, that is solid, liquid gas in this process. Now water cycle involves 4 steps, that is evaporation, condensation, precipitation, collection, that is we can call it as runoff. Now students, if we want to define water cycle, we can define it as the cyclic movement of water from the atmosphere to the earth and back to the atmosphere through various processes is called as water cycle. Now let us understand these 4 processes, that is the 4 steps which are involved in water cycle. Now students, let us understand with the first process of water cycle, that is evaporation. It is a process of transformation of water from liquid to the gaseous state. Water from Earth's surface evaporates and turns into vapor. It includes transpiration from the plant, where water vapor comes from the green plants. Most of the water that evaporates from the ocean falls back into the ocean as precipitation. Here in evaporation, heat energy is important. Now the second step in water cycle is condensation. Condensation involves the transportation of water into liquid states. The water vapor condenses to form a cloud. Here, the water vapors are converted into water by cooling. Now students, condensation is very crucial in water cycle as it forms clouds, and also it is responsible for ground level fog. The third step in water cycle is precipitation. In this process, water falls from the sky in the form of rain, snow, hail or sleet. Most precipitation takes place due to rain. At high altitude, the condensed water from the clouds falls in the form of ice. The fourth step and the last step in water cycle is collection, runoff. After the precipitation process, the water falls on the ground and gets collected in the surrounding water bodies. Some water seeps down to recharge the groundwater, while rest flows into the ocean through the rivers. Water evaporates again and continues the cycle. So students, I hope that you all understood how the water cycle happens and all the 4 steps in water cycle, that is evaporation, condensation, precipitation and collection, runoff. Students, water is very important resource. We use water for almost every activity like drinking, washing, cooking, cleaning, etc. This precious resource is largely getting wasted due to human carelessness and lack of planning, and hence we are facing the scarcity of water. Students, what do you mean by scarcity? Scarcity is basically defined as a state of being scarce or short supply, or we can say shortage. So, water scarcity signifies shortage of water. A person needs a minimum of 50 liters of water per day for his basic needs of hygiene, cooking and drinking. But there is large population which fails to receive this small quantity of water, and hence most of the population is getting affected by water scarcity. Students, let us understand what are the causes of water scarcity. Even though about 71% of the Earth's surface is covered with water. Most of this water is not fit for consumption. Fresh water is the only source of useful water which is present in very small quantity, thus limiting the accessibility to potable water. Rainwater is an important source of fresh water. It needs to be harvested so that it can be put to use. Human society is overusing water and in many cases wasting it. Loss of water due to leakages, excessive use of water for washing purposes, taps left open after use are some common sites that form the basis of the problem of water scarcity. Due to the large increase in population, the demand is much more than supply. Due to industrialization and urbanization has hugely increased the consumption of water. So, conservation of water is needed with immediate effect to sustain life on earth. If the scarcity of water increases, there will be a point when the survival of human species will be under threat. So, we need to develop habits on saving water. So students, this was the end of module 2. Now let us summarize what we have learned. We have learned that water is life, that is, we cannot live without water. Water is a universal solvent. Water is an important fluid for sustaining life on earth. Water exists in 3 states, that is solid state, liquid state and gaseous state. The cyclic movement of water from the atmosphere to the earth and back to the atmosphere through various processes is called as water cycle. Water cycle is also known as hydrologic cycle. There are 4 steps in the water cycle. The 4 steps are evaporation, condensation, precipitation, collection, runoff. And conservation of water is needed with immediate effect to sustain life on earth. Students, in this module, you have come across some new terms. Now let us see what those terms are. The first one is renewable resource. A renewable resource is one that can be used repeatedly and does not run out because it is naturally replaced. The second term is non-renewable resource. A non-renewable resource is a natural substance that is not replenished with the speed at which it is consumed. The third term is the finite resource. Finite resource is also known as non-renewable resource. It is a resource that is concentrated or formed at a rate very much slower than its rate of consumption and so for all the practical purposes. The fourth term is the potable water. Potable water is water that is safe to drink or to use for food preparation. Even potable water is also called as drinking water. Students, now at the end of this module, you all will be able to answer these questions. The questions are: water is life, explain. Why seawater is useful even though it is not potable? What will happen if the total supply of potable water is finished? Why is there a shortage of water even though it occupies about 71% of the Earth's surface? Thank you, dear students. I will be back with module 3 for the same chapter. Till then, goodbye and have a nice day.